Welcome to day 18 of Learning React Native. So far, in our app, different screens handle loading in different ways. Some show inline spinners, some disable buttons, and don't give clear feedback at all. Today, we are going to standardize this experience by building a single global loading overlay that works across entire app. This means any screen can trigger loading. The user always sees a full screen spinner. The UI is blocked while important work is happening. The behavior feels consistent and professional. Let's start by creating the loading overlay itself. I'll create it in components. Here, loading, loading overlay. Okay. This component renders a full screen overlay whenever loading is true. For that, I require import React, import some of the UI of React Native, u dot comma activity activity indicator view comma style sheet. Okay. If loading is full, we simply don't render anything. So we create a function default function loading overlay which will have a parameter called visible. Okay. If is visible, if visible is disabled, then we return it from here itself with null. Otherwise, when it is visible, this view covers the entire screen and centers the spinner. Return. I'll create a styles here. Absolute positioning ensures the overlay sits above all. So styles is equal to style sheet dot create overlay will be the name. Position will be absolute. I think view, simple view. Okay. Now our recommendations will come, I guess. Position absolute comma top 0 comma left 0 comma right, 0 comma bottom, 0 comma, and background color would be, this is a new way of setting the color, that is RGBA. I'm showing similar to what we have in Swift. So it is black with alpha as 0.4, which makes it transparent, and make it as justify content would be center. After this we'll set align items as center. Okay, and we'll set Z index so that it comes above every other UI, as well as elevation will set it as top priority. Okay, this only makes sure that our loader is above everything. Now let's add that style to our view, or the activity indicator overlay. Yes, inside that I'll have an activity indicator. Size will be large. Large. Color would be hash FFF. Okay. Now I'll create another folder called context, where I'll keep all of my context, that is user context as well, and I'll create another new context called loading context. Yes. Next, in load context, we create a global context to control loading state from anywhere in the app. So import React, we need some of the hooks of React, like create context. We require use state. Okay. The context exposes a boolean and a setter function. Okay. Loading context. Is equal to create context loading false, come on, set loading okay. Next, I'll create a function. A provider stores loading state and makes it available to all screens. Export function. I haven't made it as default because I need to expose our context as well. So that's the reason I've not made it default. I've not made loading provider as default. Constant loading, comma, set loading is equal to use state false, return. Inside here I'll create a loading provider dot provider, sorry, loading context dot provider, the value is equal to loading, comma, set loading. Okay, children, that will be passed, this will be passed to children. Okay, this is nothing but a TypeScript error. Okay, now we'll move to our app where it will be a global displacement. The loading overlay is rendered once at the app root, so it appears above all navigation and screens. So first of all, I'll import context hook from React. Context React. Okay, and I'll also import loading context and provider import overlay as well. Okay, here I'll create a function called root, which renders navigation and the global loader together. Const loading is equal to use context loading context semicolon, and it will return navigation container. Okay, after container I load loading overlay, which is visible if loading is there is set to true. Okay, now provider wraps the root, so loading state is available everywhere. Loading provider cut it and unwrap it and wrap it. Inside user provider I'll set root. Okay, Okay, now I'll do some changes in all this loading screen. uh, Screens don't render the loader themselves, they only control loading state. Okay, so in app screen, I'll have a constant. First of all, I need to import loading context. I'll remove this one. I'll change this one rather than removing it. Change it to curly braces, and there is no variable, only set loading will be there. And change this to use context, and this one to loading context. Yeah, remove this below these two. Okay, now what I'll do is set it here. Set loading. Before this itself, I'll do set loading 4, and it will be set. We do not have loading as of now, so we don't require as such this one. Because we are using here itself, that loading will happen. Yes, that will be handled by our overlay itself. So only we need to set the loading here. After this, in form screen, I'll again import my loading context, and instead of submitting, I'll remove submitting, and as before in the previous class as well, I'll change it to set loading and convert it to use context, and loading provider, sorry, rather than provider, it's context. Okay, now here as well, set loading, set loading. Yes, is we will not I'll remove it. Title will be submit. I'll remove opacity as well, we don't require. I'll remove submitting loading as well. Okay, there is no errors as such, so we can remove the loading as well. It was basically, we were telling it to, on click it was converting the text to submitting, and it was being disabled. Now we already have a loading, that's why I removed the submitting text change. Now in profile screen as well, we'll use the overlay, loading overlay. We'll create a global context. Set loading, only set loading will be called here. Use context, loading context. Okay, Here I'll change this to async as we do not have any kind of delay, so but we can show the loading as well. There is no API as such, but I can show the loading screen as the app saves it to async. So yeah, I need to keep it outside. Okay, yeah. Now I think we'll be able to see the changes. Okay, now let's run the app now. Okay, profile screen is open. Oh, I have disconnected my keyboard, but when the keyboard appears, I'm not able to dismiss it. So I need to do some changes for profile screen. Here I'll import another UI component called touchable without feedback. Also import keyboard. I require keyboard as well. Okay, I'll encompass or wrap my view inside touchable without feedback on press. Yes, on press keyboard. Excuse me. Touchable opacity on press. Yes. Key dot dismiss. Yeah. Okay. Accessible. Civil. Okay. Accessible to will be set to false. I'll cut it. And paste it below the view. Okay. 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 Activity indicator hot loading is working fine now. Let's open. Okay, here it was working well. Add B, add characters. Okay, submit. Here as well we are getting. Yeah, let's see our API. Oh, I get an error in API screen. Let's see why. Okay, I think I know the issue here as well. If data is nil, we will return as null itself. Sorry, data is null. Now let's open go to API. Now it's working fine. I think I'll add, uh, okay, to show the delay, I'll have to add a timer or set timeout or a delay, you can say. Okay, I'll wrap this loading inside that. Okay, and give a delay of 3 seconds. I think now it will work fine. See, here as well you are able to see the issue. um, Sorry, not the issue, the loader. So, final recap. Today we added a global loading system to our React Native app. We created a reusable loading overlay, a global loading context, a single centralized place to render the loader, a clean API for screens to control loading state, as well as added keyboard touch or touchable feedback so that our keyboard gets dismissed whenever you touch somewhere else apart from the keyboard itself. Yeah, so also solved one of the issues we had with when the data is empty. So yeah, this pattern scales well and is commonly used in real production apps. In the next lesson, we'll enhance this experience further by adding subtle animations and transitions. See you in day 19.